The way sociology found me was that I actually studied architecture after I left school, and I sort of went in and out of that kind of context. So I went back in doing sort of kitchen design. So I've sort of got a design and architecture background. But then when I wanted to go back into that sector more formally and do some more study, I was advised that I should study sociology, or at least some sociology subjects, because I think with design and architecture, if once you sort of study it more and sort of get more into it, there's you end up coming up against the kind of sociological categories like gender, like class, like ethnicity and race and things like that. So that was what the recommendation was, and that's so. Then I actually went back and studied. I did a Bachelor of Political, Economic and Social Science, and decided to major in sociology. So, and loved it. So then I just basically kept going, and where I've ended up, I've sort of gone full circle, because where I am now is I've got a postdoc in the architecture, design and planning department at Sydney University, actually at the Henry Halloran Urban and Regional Research Initiative, which is sort of adjacent to architecture, design and planning. So I've sort of come full circle with that. Yeah.
So had you spent time in non-academic roles prior to sort of the work you're doing now?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and most recently I was very active in my local area and doing campaigns about green space and local parks and things like that. And as part of that, then I was elected to my local government in 2021. And so that, my manager says I'm a pracademic, because I've sort of got one foot in local government and the other foot in research. So at the moment, I'm focusing more on the research side of things, but my networks in the local government sector is still there, and my interest is still there, and I still know a lot of people in that sector. So I feel that at the moment I'm really involved in research, but who knows, in the future I might go back and do some more work in local government, or it's kind of and I know other people in our department who have who've gone from sociology into government or consulting, and now they've come back into the university sector. And one of my colleagues is a professor now, left the sector, I think, as an associate professor, and has come back as a professor. So that happens too. Yeah.
So do you think it would make a person a better social researcher or sociologist to spend time in other sort of organisations within industry or NGO?
I think that really depends on the person. I think there's a lot of organisations that do research, and there's a lot of different ways that you can do research. NGOs do research. In the housing sector, there's the Anglicare do the research on housing affordability, and there's a lot of different kinds of organisations that you can be a part of. And of course, I think we were talking before about having an impact and how you can sort of translate your research. And I think that's maybe what you're getting at here as well, is that you can do research and then take your findings into different sectors, maybe the public sector or or the private sector, and maybe do some work based on the in those different contexts. Still taking your findings with you. Yeah.
And what do you think sort of good collaborations between social researchers and practitioners look like?
That's a really really great question, and I think it can be really difficult for researchers to do that work unless it's supported by something like a grant. For example, a linkage grant, in which case you're working with people in a specific sector or in a specific organisation that are part of that grant, and then you can have those collaborations. Yeah. But I guess a lot of researchers will spend years developing relationships in sectors that they're researching. So that happens informally as well as formally, through linkage grants or things like that. So, and obviously before you get to the point of having a grant like that, you need to, it always comes from somewhere. So you need to develop those connections and relationships in order to then be able to do that research more formally as well.
And Greta, I'm interested by your time as a local councillor as well. So at that point, were you still doing your PhD, your thesis, or sort of where were you how did you straddle those worlds?
I was, yes, I was doing my PhD. Actually, I finished it just after I was elected. So, but it did take up a lot of my time being on council. So I think it did have an impact in that I was really involved in what was going on, and so I didn't have time to do, maybe all the publications and things that what I would have otherwise. And I was still doing things like tutoring and had some research assistant work and things like that on a part-time basis. But yeah, definitely that it was something that did take me away from research for a while. So then what I've done since then is I'm now on a fixed term contract doing research. So I've sort of been able to come back into that research role after, in 2024, I wasn't re-elected, so I was able to come back into research, which has been amazing, and yeah, which I'm really, really grateful for. Yeah.
And did that work that you did in the community, did your sociology, do you think it enhanced some of the work that you were able to do, sort of as a counsellor?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.